Look at that, we're back after however many months it's been. And we've got the Sega CD. How exciting. I know all you people who watch this channel are big Sega CD fans. This isn't on an actual Sega CD, by the way. It's the Terra Onion Mega SD. It's like a flash cart with the Sega CD internals, but you don't care about that. So here's the opening plot. Now this part doesn't actually have anything to do with the actual game itself. It's just kind of like this weird aside, and then meanwhile, and then it goes into the actual plot with silly anime stuff. But we're just gonna skip over it. So there's our main character. Which one, you're probably thinking? There were two characters on the screen. That's not funny. Okay, so we gotta make sure we got plenty of lives to get through this. And away we go. Oh wait, we gotta get through some plot first.
And what were you doing while they were stealing the key from us?
Who do you think they had as the voice actors back then? I don't know if I can show that. Anyway, on the subject of voice actors, because nowadays there's like maybe 5 voice actors who do all the different anime out there, but who did they have to do it back in 1993 when this came out, I wonder? Different pool of people. Anywho, so yeah, the plot was just that aside that didn't have anything to do with anything. I don't know why it's there, to be honest. So I do believe this is the first Sega CD game to be played on this channel. I'm sure somebody in the comments will correct me if that's wrong. It's probably one of the best ones, honestly. Not to say that it's a fantastic game, it's just that it doesn't really have much to compete with on the Sega CD. There weren't very many good Sega CD games. There's lots of experimental full motion video stuff that's really held up terribly. You guys even know what I'm talking about? So when you don't shoot for a while, those little greenies, they spawn in and then you can get extra shots. So that's nice. I think we got a mini boss coming. Yep, there he is. If I haven't already mentioned, everything in this is very Japanese. Just look at that thing. So if you don't shoot him enough, within a certain amount of time, he'll just die on his own. He'll roll backwards off a cliff. Roll backwards onto Cliff Blazinski. He wasn't even famous when this game came out. That would be preposterous. Did you ever see that thing where, probably not, but there was that thing where Cliff Blazinski, he would submit his high scores for Tetris, I want to say, to Nintendo Power every month, and he was on the leaderboard so often that they had to, that they stopped accepting him, so then he started submitting under a different name. I think it was just Cliff Blazinski spelled backwards or something like that. It was before he was a famous video game man. Like, who's another famous video game person? There's Peter Molyneux. What has Peter Molyneux been doing lately? There were the Fable games, but that was almost a decade ago since the last one. It has been a while. Oh, Peter Molyneux. Guru Larry always used to make fun of Peter Molyneux, but not so much anymore. Kinda wish he still did. It's the one running gag that has lots of longevity to it. The longer he keeps it up, the funnier it gets. Just all the different ways that that Guru Larry can try to work Peter Molyneux jokes into his material. It would get more challenging with each episode. But he doesn't really make those kind of jokes anymore, unfortunately. I'm just trying to think of an example. I'll do my best Guru Larry impression.
And this game publisher was so greedy, he was something more greedy than Peter Molyneux at the buffet.
That's not something he would say. Never mind. But you get the gist. Okay, I think the first real boss is coming up in a second here. The music changed, so it's a pretty safe assumption. First we gotta get some normal guys, just for no reason though. Any day now. Yep, there it is. Look at that guy's pointy nose. This was on, should I even make that stupid joke? Never mind, that's not funny. Now I lost track of what I was gonna say. Okay, let's retrace our steps here. Guru Larry, Peter Molyneux, Mini Bros. Oh yeah! So there was actually something to do with this game. There was an incident when this game came out because they released a demo first in some magazine, and what they did for the demo is it technically had the full game in there. They just had a thing where the game would reset itself once it got to a certain point. So people managed to, they figured out how to hack it so then they could get past the reset point. So then they didn't need to buy the full game because they could just get the full game off the demo disc. So this game actually sold pretty poorly as a result of that. And that's probably a big part of why it's so expensive today. To get this used is probably like $800 at this point, or something ridiculous like that. Cause it was on that one guy who's oh wait, we gotta hear this. Is that a ball sack on the dragon? I never noticed that before. Anyway, so that guy who's a friend of Metal Jesus, he has his own separate channel, and he did a Sega CD, super rare and expensive games, and this was one of them. This one's notoriously difficult to get. But I've got like I mentioned before, the Terra Onion Mega SD, so I'm no longer bound to the rules of supply and demand. Any game you can think of can be played on this channel pretty much. Mostly. A lot of my games are in storage right now actually, because I'm trying to get some home repairs done, and the home repairs are kind of on hold because of things going on in the outside world. So a lot of my Xbox 360 stuff is unavailable. I've still got a few, but not many. I mean, it's not like I've ever even played an Xbox 360 game on this channel before, so it's not that big of a deal. Those mountains in the background, and I guess just the background itself, looks quite nice, doesn't it? Very good for Sega Genesis era. So this game was made by JVC, Japanese Victor Corp. I guess they were kind of into video games at the time. Certainly not anymore. I guess they're just kind of a general electronics thing. Because I looked at the Wikipedia article, and the picture they used for the company was like a camera that was like on a moving track, like a horse race track, and it had the JVC logo on it, and I thought that was a good picture. I liked that. It's a unique type of thing. They could have just had something generic like what do they make, TVs? They had a TV with their logo in it, but instead they did something interesting. And I do appreciate that. Ooh, this boss is a bit tricky. So those balancing blocks the raccoons had there moments ago represent your remaining lives, or remaining continues, excuse me. So we got 3 of them, so we'll be in good shape. Come to think of it, they did make a sequel to this actually. That was Keio Flying Squadron for the 2, probably. Actually, I believe it was called Keio Yukigati. It was on the Saturn, and they made it a platformer instead of a shoot 'em up. But I have that actually on a burnt disc. I forgot all about that. Some games are just kind of, well, I mean, I guess I've never played it. That probably has something to do with the fact that why I don't remember it. I got big into Saturn burning for a while, but I burnt maybe like 50 games and ended up actually playing like 2 of them. I think sometimes it's just more fun to... The idea of owning something is more enjoyable than actually owning the thing. Because most of those Saturn games sounded fun in theory, but once you actually try them, it's just kind of a slog. And they are throwing a lot of stuff at us. Screen's getting quite crowded. That lone raccoon, are they raccoons or tanukis? Don't tanukis have preposterously oversized ball sacks or something? Which raises the question, do tanukis only exist in like animation and such, or are they an actual creature that exists in the natural world? I've never actually looked into that. Just thinking of Tanuki Mario and the aforementioned large ball sacks, so when Mario has the Tanuki suit, the camera just zooms in on the crotch region of his pants. It just... somebody else has made that joke before, I can practically guarantee that. Okay, 1 life left. Since we've got like 10 seconds left in this video, you can probably guess how it's gonna work out. The smokestack got us. Well, that was Keio Flying Squadron. I think you pretty much get the gist at this point. No need for a second episode.